Hello all you grimdark enthusiasts, and welcome to my tutorial on how to tackle that black battle-worn armor. This tutorial is aimed to allow quick, good-looking tabletop-ready miniature with zero airbrushing, and to show the fundamentals on how I work cenital painting with dry brush. Anyone proficient with airbrush can of course apply the base layers with it as you please, but let's get on with the show. After priming the miniature black, we start off by dry brushing a mix of Eshin Grey 3:1 black to give it a very moody undertone. After the initial layer is done, we move to a more pure Eshin Grey dry brush to create some interest in the ceramide armor the Space Marine is wearing. Black is rarely if ever pure black when talking about miniatures, especially when taking into consideration the surrounding ambient light, reflections, etc. Going full matte black will be very uninteresting and commonly falls short on how the miniature should look like on the tabletop. Creating a dry brushed layers of dark grey, we emulate a tonal variance in the black color. And next up, we create some battle-worn effect. I'm using Vallejo Gunmetal stippled with dry brush on the ceramide armor to show that this marine has seen some fights. Try to emulate scratches and such on most edges of the armor plating, but please try and not overdo the effects. After the dry brushing is done, I spread some astrogranite debris on the base and let it dry early on. Work the gun holster, the ammo and grenade pouches with a mix of dryad bark and contour brown. After the initial layer, do a more defined stippling with pure contour brown, and finally add some pure white to the mix and stipple some edges to simulate wearing and tearing of the leather. For the Emperor. Using Runelord Brass, paint the Imperial Aquila on the chest and on the gun. Stipple some of the armor, also to create a slight variation in the battle-worn effect, but not much. Just a quick stipple to catch the eye. Next part of the video is optional. The armor will look great even without the shoulder pads painted white. I used some Agrellan earth on the base of camera to create slightly more interesting base. Yeah, I know, I suck at base building, something I really have to improve on. Continuing with dry brushing, we start off by Rakath Flesh stippled with tapping motion over the shoulder pad with a dry brush. Be mindful in this step where you stipple, we want coverage but not too much. The pad shouldn't be wholly covered, but rather stippled to show the paint on the armor has worn off. After Rakath Flesh, we mix in some Pallid Wych flesh and continue to work the more middle section of the pad. Last, apply pure Pallid Wych flesh in just very tiny amounts to the pad. Dry brush the aforementioned mix on the base also. Now we get to the interesting part. Wash over the whole miniature with AK Interactive dark brown wash. Be generous with the wash and let it flow on the base. Do however pick up excess pooling, but let it build up slightly on the recesses. This will create deep shadows and unify the dry brushed colors perfectly. After applying, use a hair dryer or a blow dryer to let the wash dry up. Take up your trusty old Q-tip and slight amount of white spirits and start dabbing. Work the centers of the armor plating and let the applied wash sit on the recesses. You can always add more wash if you accidentally remove too much, don't worry. Work until you feel happy with the miniature. We come back and stipple some Rakath Flesh and Wych Flesh mix. This will highlight the ambient lighting hitting the mighty shoulder pads of this brave Black Templar. Stipple some metallic highlights on the armor also, on the helmet, weapon and Imperial Aquila. Pick up some paint on the brush, wipe the excess to your thumb or tissue and work in some details. This way you can get a result very much similar to dry brushing. pick up some pigments and use a coarse brush to work in the colors. I used Vallejo Brown Earth and light Slate Grey on this base. If the base has enough structure and texture, the pigment usually sticks pretty hard and you don't have to worry about it falling off. And with our miniature nearly complete, remember to paint the rim black. I always get told about this, being the lazy bum I am. The final picture will show the model with very quick red ink glaze over the eye lenses, the armor and the weapon. You can definitely pick any color you want to glow on your Space Marine, but I pick up red as it completes the Black Templar aesthetics really well. If you enjoyed my tutorial, please consider subscribing and follow me on Instagram at grave.hammer and Facebook Gravehammer Miniatures. Thank you for watching, happy wargaming, and as always, stay grimdark.